Good evening, chat. Hello. It is Thursday night, and it's time for the Thursday show. Otherwise, why would we be doing this tonight? I don't know. Anyways, welcome everybody. We are ready to go, and we are going to be. We got some funny stuff tonight. We also got some pretty serious stuff tonight, and I warn you in advance, Chad, I'm probably gonna get, as much as we're gonna, woohoo, and you want to dab on what happened to James Comey. I can't promise you this is gonna turn out the way you want it to. That's just the nature of things. We'll get to all of that. Though. We have a lot to get into. We have a brave young edgy boy out there who wanted to help ICE. So what did they do? Well, they helped and they went ahead and helped permanently deport some Mexican guys. So you're like, huh. We're going to get to all that. Here. Your hair looks extra poofy. I mean, my beard is really kind of like, I'm getting the wings and I forgot to trim. So that's going to drive me crazy now because I could see it. And I bet 2.0 is going to see it and go crazy with the 2. But we are going to get to that. But yeah, thank you. My hair looks poofy. I'm like, oh, I mean, it's the same hair. It's just, I was really careful about putting on my headset so it all stays down because that's kind of a big deal. But thank you for noticing. All right, guys. So if you guys are new, welcome to the show. My name is Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I'm an attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area, and we are live tonight on multiple places. We are live on Rumble, and Rumble's working tonight. So we're probably going to go back to Rumble. I know people like Kick, but I was like, a lot more people, it seems like, want Rumble. So we're doing Rumble. We're live on Rumble, Twitter, and, of course, YouTube. And then last but not least, Locals chat. And if you guys don't know what Locals is, potentiallycriminal.locals.com. You guys can hang out there. It's just like Patreon, except not as gay. And from there, you guys can join the community. It costs you nothing to join, but you can post things on the wall, take part in things that are there, and it's for free. There's free content. But if you wish to support me over there and show some support, I hate saying it like that now because it's just like I feel like I'm channeling Darkside Phil now. But if you wish to support me over there, you could do that for $3 a month. You pay for 10 months, you get 2 months free. And what do you get with that? Well, you get the 2 live shows we do a week. We do a Monday night show. We do a Thursday night show. Those shows are for the supporters only. You guys get to hang out. And it's there really aren't any rules except no Fed posting. So we can do whatever we want on those live shows. And the live show tonight is directly after this. We get to hang out, have fun. So I highly encourage it. I highly recommend it. I think it's a great value. And we hope to see you guys over there. And if I really wanted to be a good showman about this, I would put the damn thing up and not be an idiot about it. But I didn't do that. So hold on here. I just noticed I didn't put the thingy up for it. But if you guys use the promo code Summertime 2025, you get 1 month free access. And you guys can hang out. And there's no obligation afterwards. If you don't like it, I don't understand. But, you are allowed to do that. This is a free country. After all, the last time I checked, it is a free country. So promo code Summertime 2025, and you guys can hang out with us. No, Mayo says nice predictions about Comey. Oh, you want me to give nice predictions only? Well, there you go. Well, we'll take a look. at that. Rumble is gay. Yeah, well, we're trying it. Last night, Sean said, "Sorry, we get Clyde tonight. Don't let him forget." No, we're gonna get Clyde. Don't worry. If 2.0 has to forcibly grab him for me, we will. Meme Copium says, "Is it over, Sean?" Well, we're gonna get that. We'll probably lead off with that. I think that's really, not the former director of the FBI being indicted for lying to Congress or anything like that. No, really, it's the gayest men in Minnesota. That's where we really need to start. And yes, I think we will start there. Hold on 1 second, chat. Sorry, chat. We had live TV there. So, what's wrong with the feds, Sean? Well, there's a lot wrong with feds. The first thing of all is they're feds. That's their biggest problem here. And hold on, chat. Let me grab them. Thank you, Clyde. Great. Well, guys, here's Clyde. He got his hair cut this weekend. If you guys didn't see him this week so far. And yes, this is a big change from where he was earlier. If you guys don't remember what happened to Clyde earlier, he got loose in the grass after it got mowed. And yeah, it's a bit of a change from where he is now to what he used to look like before he ripped my headphones off my head. But anyways, here's Clyde. And now he looks all better, completely cleaned up. But he went around and rolls around in the grass. Yes, he turned green. Marlene says, does he eat grass? Yes, he does sometimes. But when the grass gets cut, he rolls around in it anyway. But for some reason, when it's cut, he loves to roll around in the grass. And I don't know why, but he does. He does. So. Okay, Clyde. Clyde is being really finicky today. He needs 2.0. So I'm going to set him down. Anyways, there you go, guys. Clyde's been in a funk this week. I don't know what his deal is.
It's the weather. I told you.
Yeah.
I called it last week. I said it's going to be a rough week with Clyde.
Yeah, I know, but it's been really, really bad. So
I know, my baby.
Yeah. So there you guys go. There's Clyde. Todd says after it got mowed, one doesn't mow his own yard. Not this past week. We had somebody come out and take care of a landscaping issue. So while they were there, they did it as part of it. Just, it helped because I was busy this past week. So they helped take care of it for us. It was kind of nice. It's kind of nice. Don't think I'll do that routinely, but it filled a need. It filled a need as they were getting something planted for us. So it's not stinky. It's just doggy cologne. Yeah. They like the smell of fresh cut grass. I know, but I've never had a dog just roll around in the grass. Like every time I mow the yard, Clyde does this. I've never had a dog ever do that. I've never had a dog ever do that before, like to this level. So. Half-Fire says, yes, Clyde is my son. Yes. I used to have a guy till Trump got elected. All right. Well, anyways, that's a Clyde update for you guys. That's a Clyde update. Real quick, you can get through some of these. Chugi Show for 199 says, I should just retitle it, Nothing Ever Happens o'clock. Well, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that, what I think is going to happen. Erica says, let's fucking go, chat. Truer words, never been spoken. Nick Kreuzer for $14.88. I did not see that coming. Says, hi, all. And then, I don't know. I think they're reaching. I don't know. Can't tell. EDW Raptor says for $5, Teal Boy hit the goal. Yes, guys, and the goal was this won't be the only indictment. Although I can't promise that. And then Tenelka over on Rumble says hello. Well, hello over there. And then, yes, you guys, you guys over on Locals, those are great things. I forgot to mention, there's a live chat that goes on during the show over on Locals. I have up and running, but if it's something I can't show, and some of those are, yeah. John Coleman says for $5, I'm going to comb me. Letty says, isn't the process the punishment for the commies? We'll talk about that. And John Coleman says, not going to go the way we want it. He can't go to jail, Sean. He has to be free. Palmyra Media, 07, 07, 07, 07. Thank you. And Shredder S 07 says, leftists like to lower the immigration count the old-fashioned way, apparently. I mean, yeah, seems like it. Devil Eyed Elvis says for $5, can't wait to hear your take on the Jim Comey stuff. Well, it's gonna be careful because like Jim Norton's gonna be like, that's my name. That's my job. Little Jimmy Cummies. So all right. Now let's get started, guys. And once again, we are gonna get started with I think it needs to be addressed. The gayest men in Minnesota. The gayest men in Minnesota. That's right. There can be more than one. In fact, there are two. And I'm not counting Tim Walz. I'm not counting Governor Walz, although he's up there. And he was the top. He was the queen for a while, but now we have dual queens right now. You could almost call it an interregnum. We don't have a reigning queen for now. We have two of them competing neck and neck. And of course, we are talking about the Steel Toe Morning Show, run by the world famous Aaron M. Holt and Rekieta Law, run by the world famous Nick Rekieta. So yes, we have those two. And if you guys remember, this goes back to 2024 when they started their little polycule and they were doing a fucking suck and the cocaine was flowing and the good times were to be had. And then eventually, as Aaron likes to tell the story, he quit. Not that he was kicked out, but he quit. He quit them. Maybe they kicked him out and wanted to save the coke for themselves. I don't really know. Doesn't really matter. Aaron left. And then shortly after that, Nick's house got raided. The police found a bunch of coke in his house. They took his kids away because, the kids living in a drug den is never a good thing. And, they had to spend months and months and months kowtowing to the government, which Nick scrubbed every boot in that county, getting his kids back and then eventually taking a plea deal, which allows him for what's called a deferred adjudication, basically, that he will complete programming treatment over the next course of 2 years, comply with terms of probation without officially being on probation. And, in 5 years from now, I'm sorry, I said 2 years, 5 years from now, or 5 years from April, this will get dismissed. Now, maybe it'll happen sooner. Who really knows? But that's the game plan for Nick. While this all went on for Nick, Aaron, at one point, had snapped a picture of Kayla Rekieta and shared it with Gino Bisconti. And you guys are like, yeah, we're in Dabbleverse naming today. Shared it with him. So Aaron got charged with revenge pornography because Nick, was very upset that his boyfriend left him. He very much wants Aaron to taste his goo, or he wants to taste Aaron's goo. I'm not sure which. But Nick was very upset that his boyfriend left. So Aaron got charged with a felony. It was pled down to a misdemeanor. And Aaron's case was set for sentencing on October 2nd. And as things were going, Nick and his wife come in and, put a bunch of horrible letters about the poor evil Steel Toe Man was just so bad. And then all the Dabbleverse started, which is really funny. They snitched out Aaron apparently a ton to the government, which I'm like, the Hackverse and the Dabbleversers, I'm like, snitching's a thing, I guess. But anyways, they did that. Aaron's sentencing got basically demolished and imploded and was reset till then. Yes, he's bald. They're both balding. As this happened, as this happened, this past week, Aaron's attorney, Todd Peterson, filed basically, and once again, guys, this is different than a lot of places. He filed what was called a request for continuance, but he did it through a letter. And I know we talk about, especially when we see these East Coast cases where you do things through letters. This is apparently how you do it in Minnesota, is through letter. But anyways, he sent the judge and said, hey, look, judge, I'm going to be out of town. We have something scheduled for sentencing on October 2nd. Unfortunately, a scheduling conflict arisen. I'll be out of the country and visiting my son at that time. And he says, I became aware this hearing date was not on my calendar. I respectfully request a brief continuance. And you know what? I know people were kind of like talking shit about him. Like, shit happens, man. Like it's like any other job. Things don't get marked down. Things don't get penciled in. Attorneys miscalendar things. Courts don't send out notices. I mean, this is not uncommon. It's pretty normal, actually. Pretty normal. These kind of things happen. The past 3 weeks, I've had 3 separate hearings where I never got a notice officially for it. And one time the court's they called me and they're like, where are you at? And I'm like, I'm at home. What's going on? And they said, oh, you could hear the bailiff in there going like, oh shit. She said oh shit, we never gave you a notice. And I'm like, so what's going on? And they told me what the case was. I was like, oh, okay, well, and I talked to the judge over the phone and we took care of it. But yeah, they didn't send out a notice. Happens. No big deal. Shit happens. So it's moved again. Well, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. What's it at right now? Well, Aaron's attorney asked for a continuance to reset it. The prosecutor comes in and says, no, we can't do that. Prosecutor gets all fired up about it, and they object to pushing the sentencing date out further. The defendant pled guilty in April. Sentencing was initially set for June, but was continued at the defendant's request. The October sentencing date has been known to everybody for several months. The victim in the case deserves closure. Yes, Nick deserves closure. Nick really deserves closure. And therefore, the state would object to push the sentencing date out any further than it already has been. And some of you might say, wait, Kayla's the victim. It's like, yeah, yeah, sure. But they object to pushing it out any further. And they say it's the state's understanding the defense is available Monday or Tuesday next week. The state would request it be moved up versus pushing it out further. So what happened? Well, the court's like, that's a good point. So you know what we're doing? We're just going to do it on the 30th at 11:30. We're going to do it on the 30th at 11:30. That's the game plan here. And you know what? I've had that happen before where the court's like, you know what? One side or another wants to continue. And the court's like, we looked at our calendar and you guys are already going to be here for different cases. So just come on in. Or the prosecutor and, you want to work something out. It's like, no, we'll pick a different day and we'll do it ahead of early time. So it's September 30th at 11:30 a.m. Central Time. It's a sentencing. Now, here's the difference, though. This is going to be, this is in person here. This is not a Zoom thing on here. So, yeah. Now, does that mean they're going to jail Aaron? Who really knows what's going to happen? He could face up to 364 days of jail time. We don't really know. But chat, in case you guys were wondering, is an option out there. If you want to support Steel Toe Morning Show, you can always do Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, or you can go to Inmate Canteen. Should Aaron actually get incarcerated, you go to inmatecanteen.com, and that is where you can submit commissary to Aaron if he becomes a guest at the Stearns County Justice Center. If you guys want to help him out, that's where it can go. Don't do JPay. Don't do Securus. If you're familiar with those, that's not what apparently the jail uses. I Googled it earlier. They use a different organization. But you guys can get Aaron shower shoes. You can get them, You guys can have support competitions. How many Aaron will come back out and he'll be like, he'll have his board up in the background and he'll mark it out by honey buns and not dollar amounts. Or somebody, somebody donated a pair of shower shoes. Thank you. Inmate Canteen is an iPhone app. What the fuck? Well, that's because most people nowadays, these companies want to make it as easy as possible for you to give money to your loved ones or family members or friends. And a lot of people don't have computers anymore. This is the only computer a lot of people have nowadays, especially if you're lower income, you're in lower socioeconomic class. You don't have a fucking computer. You have a tablet and a phone. And you set up an app. Well, now people can spend money on that app. Makes sense. Yeah, and they take their cut. Can you give him Trojans? No, but you can help him with Commissary so he doesn't have to pay rent when he's on the tier. Well, he's going to have to pay rent on the tiers, but you can help him pay rent without having to spend his ass. Now, that said, guys, what's going to happen, Aaron? We don't actually know. We don't know what's going to happen at this point. Is he going to go to jail? We really don't know at this point. I'd like to think he won't. I mean, especially at this point, because some things have happened. And one of the unique things that got submitted in Aaron's case here came out today from Todd Peterson. And guess what he did? He said, "Hey, Judge, and everybody involved, look at what we've had to deal with." So we attached all the documents from the HRO case. And, it's funny. I remember earlier, telling somebody you shouldn't be involved in fucking around with people's cases because it can hurt your loved ones who you think have a case. And yeah, this, harassing the defendant in a case your loved one is a victim on, it's never a good look to a court. It doesn't look good. So, is it going to hurt ultimately? Maybe not. I don't know. But I can tell you from my experience as an attorney, being a defense attorney, and also as an assistant prosecutor. As an assistant prosecutor, I didn't have time for shit like that. I couldn't stand when that would happen. Oh, he's the bad man, and you won't leave him the fuck alone. Well, fuck you. So, just something to think about. We'll see what happens. But the HRO itself ended up getting submitted, and this is the ex parte order that got granted. And, this is just, once again, it's, what will the court make of it? I don't know. Maybe they'll make something of it. Maybe they won't. But it's a lot better if this thing didn't exist. It would be so much better for Nick and Kayla if this didn't exist. Because on the best outcome for them, the judge disregards it. Any other scenario where the judge gives it some credence is bad. If they want Aaron to go live on the tiers for the better part of a year. Once again, you fucked yourself here a little bit. So they point out that this is the ex parte order from the judge, and there's an immediate and present danger of harassment. So, yeah, it looks bad when another judge is like, yeah, the victims are fucking around with the defendant here. And they talk about being followed, uninvited visits, harassing phone calls, threats, frightening petitioner, calling names, all kinds of stuff, using social media to harass. So, yeah, getting the ex parte granted, being told, leave him alone. Just completely leave him alone. And they say any other, just leave him alone. That's all they want. And it doesn't look good at the end of the day when it's signed by the judge. It's not a good look. Is it fatal? No. But once again, you don't want to be a retard and have to deal with it. Yes, they're jousting partners. And Jim says, or the judge thinks Aaron's further fucking his victims. It's possible. Like I said, could it hurt Aaron? Sure. But it could also fucking hurt Nick really, really fucking bad. And if an independent judge has already evaluated it, it's not as though this was filed and it got denied. If that got denied, yeah, Aaron be in deep shit. But the fact it was granted as an ex parte and the hearings are in the process, I'm inclined to think the judge might say, okay, well, there must be a little bit of there. So the judge isn't going to be thrilled that the victim's family is fucking around with the defendant at the end of the day. That's never a good look. You don't ever want that look. Just that's free legal advice, chat. Free legal advice for you out there. If somebody is a bad man and he does something bad to you, leave him the fuck alone. You don't help things by fucking with him. Free advice on that one. Can you guys get Aaron a cuck chair into the jail? No. And you can't buy him guys, you can't use the commissary money to buy, to get a cuck fridge sent in for Aaron. You can't do any of that. None of that works. But just remember, chat, Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, inmatecanteen.com. Just keep that in mind. Be prepared. Let me see here. Former Mrs. Martin 1.0. Oh, thank you. Says, nor do you act like you don't have Diddy amounts of levels of oil for our love affair. Just a different type of oil is all. Mitch says the toilet's going to be the cuck chair. Yeah. For Aaron, it might be. Can you buy him vapes? Well, I mean, you'd have to get those smuggled in. Yeah. Job well done says you can't even buy him a TV in jail. Well, like you generally, that's TVs and stuff like that are for like prisons. So you generally can't get those there. Are there baldos on the commissary? God damn. No, I don't know if there are. Yes, because he ate Nick's goo. Can we get Aaron mouthwash? You got to be careful because they won't let you bring in stuff that's got out. You can't buy commissary. It's got alcohol in it, so it's gonna have to be special stuff. You're gonna have to get him pop probably. He's gonna have to wash his mouth out with soda. As the Somalis are in the jail, show up to see him. Can you buy him $2.50 cans? That's the thing. Stonies will do a benefit for Aaron. They're going to do like a poker run for Aaron. The Steel Toe Morning Show commissary poker run. Oh, that would be good. No, Aaron is not in jail yet. It's a possibility for him, though. No sentencing's 100%. No sentencing's 100%. So Aaron might go to jail, but he's not gone to jail yet. But we'll find out Tuesday. So. How many days in a row will Aaron hit the goal with the commissary? Yes. Capone and Ethan Ralph hit the extendo goal, too. Get extra honey buns. He can buy some Keefy coffee while he's in there. Can you send Aaron Twister to play with his cellmate? No, it doesn't work like that. David, for making law simple. How you doing, David? Says, wait, what are we talking about? Thank you. Oh, man. Can he stream from jail? Yes, that'll be great. Johnny holds up the phone to the mic. It's like, you have a correct call from Aaron, an inmate at the Stearns County Jail. To accept this call, press 1. Boop. Well, actually, I think it's 0. I don't know which one service he's there. Press 0 to accept this call. You have 30 minutes remaining on this call. Oh. Do you think Nick will get conjugal visits? Oh, yeah. Will you stream the hearing? I don't think it's going to be available for streaming. It doesn't look like it based on the court order. I mean, these guys, we scroll to this court order here. It does not look like that's an option. There's no Zoom thing here. So maybe. I don't know. And that's something I'd have to get permission from the court to do anyway. And I've got shit to do on the 30th, so no, I wouldn't be able to stream it live anyway. Twosret or Twasret, I don't know. Member for 3 months says, will Aaron have a Shawshank-like poster of Kayla? I mean, that also implies he's going to have to fight off the sisters in the jail. That's not good either. Oh, so there we go. Can we get a transcript? Oh, yeah, certainly. That's easy to, we'll have to pay to get one, but yeah, that can happen. In before Josh calls him live on stream. That would be funny, Anonymous. That would be funny. In other news, guys, there is an update in the HRO case. Apparently, they're having a status conference on the 2nd. It looks like from what it sounds like Melton was saying, that there's going to be a status conference, and the court's like, what are we doing? What's our timetable here? What are we setting? So we don't actually have a new date yet. It sounds like they're going to try to establish a date here next Friday to do it. So that's kind of the story there. They just can't quit each other, and it feels like that's never going to happen. So it is what it is. So I don't know what else to tell you guys. I don't know what else to tell you guys there. So Aaron crawled through miles of shit just to get fucked in the end. Funny stuff, guys. So there you go. That's kind of the big story I know everybody was really worried about today in America. I think that's the most critical story we are dealing with. Certainly, it's not this one here. It's not the one we're really gonna, it's not the one we're gonna get to now. True love is confusing. Yes, it is. It is. Two star-crossed lovers. Moving on from there, guys. I think this is. I don't really want to blow through the first two stories so quickly, but I think we have to. Right now. And I think it's important it's very important to do. It's very important to do because this is kind of a big fucking deal. This is a huge deal. Huge deal. You'd think I'd be two rainbow crossed lovers. Well, which way you like to call it. James Comey. If you guys don't remember him, James Comey is the former director of the FBI. He was there during the Trump presidency. He was also there prior to it. He was the FBI director that, came out and gave the press conference about Hillary Clinton before the election happened. And if you guys don't remember Director Comey, this is him right here. Shitbag extraordinaire. Anyways, that's James Comey. He's the guy that he claimed that when Trump would tell him to do stuff, he hid behind the fucking curtains because he was like a little fucking girl about things. And he was scared when Trump called him on the phone. Like, yeah, this is the head of the FBI said shit like that. The head of the FBI said shit like that. So as a result of the two big operations the FBI undertook, one of them is called Mid-Year Exam. Mid-Year Exam was looking into Hillary Clinton's email servers, which I still don't understand how those weren't illegal, running classified material out of your house like that to avoid detection using private email servers. But hey, it was determined that there were no crimes committed and Hillary was not prosecuted. So, Hillary walked, guys. That's the thing. Like, they can't prosecute her. She got away with it. From here, from here, though, there's also Crossfire Hurricane. You guys may remember that one. That's the one investigating Trump. And from there, and also my headphones are... Okay, there we go. They're back now. I was like, I couldn't hear for a second. Anyway, Crossfire Hurricane was the investigation into the Trump campaign and their ties to Russia. Woo! Using the Steele dossier and using all the information in it where apparently, even though they lied on the FISA warrants and they lied and they got caught lying on the paperwork, only one guy was ever charged and convicted for that and didn't spend a day in jail. You'd think lying on a warrant would get you sent to prison, but that didn't happen. That didn't happen here. That didn't happen. Hillary walked so Trump could run, yes. So Crossfire Hurricane was a disaster. That's where Peter Strzok, the scumbag FBI agent, when he testified, did the thing. And he had his, he was doinking one of the other FBI agents in the counterintelligence division. And that's where they had the emails talking about, we can't afford to let him win. We have an insurance policy, blah, 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 blah. So ultimately, James Comey was called to testify before Congress. And he made statements around September 30th of 2020. So right before the election in 2020. And the idea is that when he was testifying before the Senate Judiciary Committee, he had told, he had said, I have not authorized anybody else at the FBI to be an anonymous source. And he knew that statement was false. And because he had already authorized somebody to serve as an anonymous source. And then he was also charged with obstructing a congressional proceeding. And here's what's going to happen, though, chat. Here is the indictment. Comes out today. The 5-year statute of limitations on these offenses was approaching. By the beginning of next week, that would have happened, September 30th. So they had to strike while the iron was hot. And they decided to indict him now. So here we are. And it's in the Eastern District of Washington. Washington, Virginia. I'm stuck on the Glock mode thing. But we are dealing with the Eastern District of Virginia. And if you guys see Alexandria Division. What does that mean? Well, we've got a couple of documents here that we're going to take a look at. And this one here just tells us, where's Alexandria? And if you guys don't know, this kind of tells you probably what's going to happen at the end of the day. If you guys remember the January 6th people, where were they all? Where was everybody in January 6th tried? Where was everybody in January 6th tried? In Washington, D.C. Why? Well, guess what happened in Washington, D.C.? Everybody got convicted because the Washington, D.C. juries convicted and they were biased. But that's what happened. Okay, well, if you guys aren't aware of where Alexandria, Virginia is, bam! It's right here. It's right here, chat. Alexandria, Virginia is literally right here. It's suburban DC. So there you go. I mean, do you think they're not going to end up getting people on the jury who are, like, what do we think is going to happen? Like, this is where I'm telling you, it's not going to work. Think about it. What are you going to find here? You're going to find people on this jury who are going to acquit him. And if you guys don't understand what you're looking at here, this is Alexandria is basically, surrounded by Fairfax County, Virginia. And Fairfax County, Virginia is and basically this is like Fairfax County. Kind of goes like this. And then Alexandria and Fairfax are what are called like independent cities. So they don't get to count, but like they're kind of cut out of the county. But they're literally in the heart of all the government workers. All the higher end government workers are going to be here. Do you think the government's going to get people who are willing to convict? Rigged before it even begins. Yeah. Yep. Alexandria, Reston, Herndon. That's the thing. All this way up this way. Chantilly, Fairfax, McLean, all these places. Vienna. All this stuff. Falls Church. All these places are full of glowies. Tyson's Corners. All of it. Dulles Airport's right there. I mean, guys, this is not... Even Ashburn's going to be full of glowies. It's Glowy City. It's Glowy City in the Eastern District of Virginia. I mean, are they really going to get a fair deal? Are they going to get a fair deal? Is this going to be a good trial? It's all foreigners now. Yeah, it's not worried about the foreigners. I'm worried about the government workers. You're not going to be able to get rid of all of them. You're not going to get rid of all of them. Bill Nye says a jury of your peers. Isn't that the point? Well, they don't have to be exactly your peers. Like, as an attorney, I don't get fat attorneys who scream the N-word once in a while on my jury if I get charged with a crime. So, yeah, that's the issue. That's my first point. That's my first point. It's kind of like the whole Tyler Robinson thing. Like I told people that, Salt Lake City area has a lot of liberal people in it. It just takes one person who thinks like the guy was based to go sit get through the jury the whole way through and then walk it back into the jury room and say, I think he's not guilty. Fuck you. I'm not changing my mind. Same thing for James Comey. All it takes is one person to go back there and say, fuck you, not guilty. I'm not changing my mind. And guess what? You can't run back to the judge and say somebody's refusing to deliberate. They can say, I think he's not guilty. I can't be convinced otherwise. And you can't be removed for that. So there you go. I think that's going to be the likely outcome here. If this even gets to trial. Well, you remember, you don't need all 12. You just need one. You just need one to get hung jury. The bigger thing to think about here is, chat, going back to the indictment, is false statements here. And the false statements are, when you get charged with like perjury and making false statements, I've told you before, these are very hard charges to prove because you kind of have to catch the person completely in the act. Because what can you say in the meantime if you have one of these? You can always do the arguments of, number one, I forgot, or number two, I'm just a big retard and I just don't remember. Well, there's a little bit of ammunition here they have from James Comey, and it comes from the investigations that were done. And ultimately, one of the biggest things that happened was there's this guy here, Daniel Richman. He is a professor of law at Columbia Law School. Well, when you read about him, he's a former federal prosecutor out of the SDNY. Okay. Guess who else was out of the SDNY at the same time? James Comey. And notice what he even has down here. He has served as an advisor to former director James Comey. Wow. So how does Richmond fit into all this reporting here? Oh, you guys need to see that better as a big thing here. Comey's daughter too. Yeah, but Comey's daughter is not accused of being a source. this is a little, that's where is here? Hold on. Somebody just tried to get my attention, I think, and I'm like, I don't see you, so sorry. Anyway, he's a former advisor to James Comey. Okay, well, what did he do? Well, James Comey said he did not authorize anybody to disclose someone had not authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports. Okay. Regarding an FBI investigation concerning person one. Okay. Well. And then it says the statement was false because Comey then and there knew he in fact authorized person three to serve as an anonymous source in gathering, regarding person one. And what does that get you? In 18 USC 1001 chat. Remember, making false statements to Congress or federal officials, they get you on that all the time. And then the same thing on September 30th was also obstructing a congressional proceeding. Like legitimately obstructing it. This is what a lot of January 6 people got. Notice, though, they're not going to put him in fucking jail and make him sit awaiting trial. But he did corruptly endeavor to influence, obstruct, or impede the due and proper exercise of the power of inquiry before the Senate Judiciary Committee. Well, there we go. And it was signed by the United States Attorney for the Eastern District. So what are we looking at here for Comey? Well, here's some of this information is out there. Now, here goes some of the information about Richmond. So they talk about in May, oh God, I got to use this. In May 16, 2017, Comey provided a copy of memo forward to Richmond, who was one of Comey's attorneys and also a close personal friend. Richmond also served as a special government employee at the FBI. Now, this is where Comey might say, I didn't realize he wasn't technically an employee. It's like, that's going to be tough because you're the one who brought him on personally. And it's going to become an issue of, was this during a portion of the time where Comey was the director? Comey sent photographs of both pages to Richmond via text from Comey's personal cell phone. Comey instructed Richmond to share the contents of Memo 4, but not the memo itself, with a reporter for the New York Times. Comey did not seek the authorization before providing the contents, though Richmond to a reporter. And see, this is where they're going to try to get him. This is where they're trying to get him. And now, is this going to work? We don't really know. They say, as noted above, the FBI later marked Memo 4 for official use only and determined that it did not contain classified info. And they say, we found no evidence that Comey or his attorneys released any classified information contained in memos to members of the media. But notice, Richmond disclosed it to someone for the New York Times. And what is Comey saying? Well, Comey's saying, I never did that. I never authorized anybody, someone else at the FBI, to be an anonymous source. Richmond was an anonymous source. And there's more information that was done as part of stuff here. So what else was there? Well, there's more. And I forget which thing this is taken out of, because these are just some screenshots of parts of some of the reports and things put together. They point out Comey's a Columbia University law professor and a close friend of Comey. They were both AUSAs. And the New York Times article contained several quotes attributed to Richmond, which defended Comey's decisions to make unilateral statements about the mid-year exam investigation. And they said that Comey instructed the FBI to hire Richmond as a special government employee and to grant him a top secret clearance with access to sensitive compartmentalized information. This is known as a TSSCI, guys. That is basically as high as you can get, other than like a Q clearance from the Department of Energy. And then the FBI records indicated Richmond was hired to work on going dark matters. The investigation revealed Comey also hired Richmond so Comey could discuss sensitive matters, including classified information, with someone outside of FBI's regular leadership. Comey also used Richmond as a liaison to the media. On several occasions, he spoke to the media without consulting the FBI or DOJ's public affairs people. Richmond contacted journalists to correct stories critical of Comey, which is funny. They make fun of Trump for this, but, they all sucked Comey's dick earlier. And Comey had his guy go out there and sweep for him. Sweep it up, Janny! The FBI and to shape future press coverage. Richmond did this both when he was a governmental employee and after he resigned from the FBI. There's some more things here. So there's just a couple more things here. And, this is just another discussion about what happens. That's so much of this. Is what's going on here. And yeah, do I think Comey should be held accountable for it? Sure. What do I think is going to happen, though? Probably not what you guys are hoping is going to happen. And I'm sorry that's what you think. But even if you think he deserves to be indicted, I don't see what's going to stick there for him. I don't see what's going to stick. But I do think this is hilarious. I saw this earlier. Somebody put it there, and this is making fun of Comey when he did his whole 86-47. Somebody did one with shells on the beach saying indicted. And as we have as our great clips from the LA City Council meetings.
Guess who got indicted? Ha 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 ha.
Very true. Ha 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 ha. I like I said, I would love to see these people held accountable. I'm not counting on it. I'm not counting on it, guys. I'm not trying to scare you. But it just is what it is. It just is what it is. McDrummer says, making my eyes glaze over. How was play to a jury? Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know if you're going to get a jury in the Eastern District of Washington or Virginia that's going to convict them. It's going to be a bunch of fucking GS fucking 14s sitting on his jury. It's going to be all the rich men north of Richmond. So, yeah, that's my concern here. That's my concern. So, it's just, yeah. It's just my concern. So, yeah. Sad chat, but yeah, it's nothing ever happens o'clock. Yep. Mad Rhetoric says, what's the percentage on the sure on the I don't know to beyond a reasonable doubt scale you need for indictment? Oh, I think they clearly have enough. I think they clearly have enough to sustain a conviction. But is it going to get past a jury? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. So, like, if they go to trial, I don't think they have better than 50-50 odds of winning, because I could see a juror just saying fuck it and sneaking on the jury and blowing it up. It's just, yeah, that's correct. So, I'm not here to lie to you guys. I'm not going to gas you up. Doesn't help me. Doesn't help you. Yes, Boomer is right. Fairfax County is where they allow boys to rape girls in the bathrooms and applaud it because the boy says he's a girl. Yes. 100%. Michael says, do libs love Comey that much? Yes, but they hate Trump so much more. The libs, they will suck a dick to own Donald Trump. I mean, think about like what you see out there. Think about all the things people are willing to do just to spite Donald Trump. The whole Tylenol thing, women, like pregnant women were choking down Tylenol, and it's like, you should be careful about that. But they did it anyway to spite the orange man. So don't put it past people. Don't put it past people. As much as I'd love to see it happen, sadly, no. And you know what? Yes, he's not going to get the Roger Stone treatment of a 6 a.m. fucking raid by a tactical team. Although I think that would be very appropriate for him. Have the HRT go out and pick them up. You know, it'd be very fitting. It's just treat them like we treated January Sixers. Natasha says for 15 months. Thank you, Natasha, for 15 months. Says there's a Comey meme for you in locals chat. Yes, I agree, and I did see this, and this is actually acceptable. This is a good one. This is Bill, get the suicides ready. Get the Arkansas ready, Bill. Another says, I'll lie. Comey will be sentenced to life in prison without parole. Well, yeah, that's not going to, like I said, I don't know what's going to happen there. Aquila says Arkansas, yes. That's what it is called. All the different murders, Arkansas. So, anyways, chat, we got to catch up here on some things real quick. Meme Copium says, is it Tover? Well, I mean, maybe a little bit. It's Tover. John Coleman says for $2, I'll be your jockstrap. Here's your support. Well, as long as it's firm support and consistent support, that's the biggest thing for a jockstrap. You know, it can't be intermittent. Then it'd be really dangerous. Anonymous for $5.69. That is a weird amount here. What would be good something to make in a crock pot? I can't think of anything good to make. I mean, you could do like a roast. Put a roast in. That's never a bad idea. I mean, you can make like buffalo chicken dip. That's never a bad idea too. But yeah, just put a roast in. Debbie O for 5 subs. Thank you, Debbie. Palmyra Media for 10 subs. And Nick Kreuzer for 10 more. And then Palmyra Media for 5 more subs. Chat, that's 20. Oh, no, it's at 15 subs. Hold on, wait. Did I do my math right? Yes, 15 subs for Palmyra. Thank you guys for your support, your generosity. And I mean, that gets you guys. It gets you a big old woo tonight. Sorry, I couldn't get Clyde to do it for us. But thank you guys for your support, your generosity. I truly appreciate it. If you guys got a membership from them, please tell them thank you. I know they would appreciate it. Morse Apple says for $5 for once, I'm not late and gay. That's correct. Jim tells you he's been a member for 21 months. Thank you for being here that long, Jim. 21 months, quite a while. Says we need a better name for the toe troubles. I'm not really sure what you could say or name it better, but yeah, it's because it's like a subset of the RQ. We already got through that. We got through. Morris Apple for $2 says it's not like the FISA courts aren't a rubber stamp organization either. Well, that's true of them. It's true of them. And then Green Caps Lock for 18 months. Thank you for that. Thank you for being here. Says N. Range Queen for $4.99 says, can I get the fastest recap ever been? Been working all day. No idea what's happening. Former Director James Comey, the FBI, is being indicted. I don't think it's going to work because he's getting indicted and tried where all the federal government workers live. So he's going to be amidst all the glowies. They're probably going to do this despite Donald Trump. Nick and Aaron, they're having a status conference on the 2nd for the HRO case to probably set set more dates for the hearings. And then Aaron is getting sentenced for his revenge porn case on the 30th, next Tuesday at 11:30. That's how far we got. So there you go. There you go. And Bolton is going to get indicted too. Yeah, that would be great, but I don't think John Bolton's going to get indicted. It could be, but I don't think it's going to happen. All right, guys. Yeah, it is probably time for us to do something here. I do want to get to that real quick. Speaking of that, chat, as I said, I'm going to talk to Cheeto. And over at Stoney's Bar Grill at 158 East Broadway Street in Rockville, Minnesota, chat. Stoney's is your place to go. If Aaron does get incarcerated, I'll contact Cheeto so we can set up the Steel Toe support show. We'll do a poker run or something. I'll get him to do a poker run for Aaron. But guys, it is summer is over, and we are fast approaching the end. There are only 2 more weeks of bike night. Only 2 more weeks of bike night. Tonight was Heavenly Hog Roasting is out there. They're going to have food trucks the last 2 times, chat. But, you know, if you guys don't come out to Stony soon and crank your hog on a Thursday night, you're going to be cranking your hog all by yourself in the middle of the street. So make sure if you want to go crank your hog and watch everybody watch you while you crank your hog, make sure you do it soon. Time is running out. Time is running out. And then, guys, this week, what do they have at Stoney's? Well, it's the Vikings versus the Steelers. Starting at 9 a.m., they're going to be available for you to come hang out and have some fun. And then tomorrow night at Stoney's is going to be Julio Goldstein. And then Saturday, in the world-famous Stoney's garage, Rick Bricks from 2 to 5. That's all at Stoney's, serving Central Minnesota as its premier biker bar, 30 years running. There we go. Oh, I thought I muted that. My apologies. So. Yeah, meme ran off once I started doing the Stoney's ads. He knows what happens there. I'm a lawyer, not a mathematician. Well, yes, that's true as well. That's true as well. That's true as well. So, you're going to be a model stream tonight? No, we are going. We're going to do locals tonight, but no, we're not doing model stream tonight. Somebody says, "Am I sponsored?" No. Initially, I did this as a big fucking troll to Aaron because, you know, Aaron's always talking about Stoney's, Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo. I am surprised Aaron doesn't use Kick too, but Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo. And he always did Stoney's, and I did his arraignment, and I said, you know, brought to you with limited commercial interruptions by Stoney's. And everybody really liked it and doing the Stoney's jokes, and I thought they were funny. And then it turns out apparently Nick didn't fucking like it, so why not keep doing it too at that point? No, it's all a joke. It's all a joke and a smoke. So no, I am not sponsored. My mom asked me that one time too. She's like, "Why do you plug them?" I'm like, "It's all a joke. It's all a joke. It's all a work." Megan Dude says, "What did you think of Stephen Miller's speech at the memorial?" I thought his was off. I didn't like his. I mean, if you really wanted somebody who did it, JD Vance was an amazing thing at Charlie Kirk's thing. JD Vance's was absolutely amazing. And you know what? JD Vance, he's my man 2028. He's going to be our president in 2028 and in 2032. Think about that, chat. We got like 10 more years of this. Unstoppable. Unstoppable. Godlike. Egregious Darkly says, and real quick, we'll get back to things here. You're saying Russia stated it's at war with NATO today. Fuck that. They always say they're at war with NATO, or these are provocations, or there's nuclear war, or all kinds of retarded shit. Barks. You know, until they fucking do something, it's all fucking hollow. So, until they start lobbing Iskanders into, you know, Rzeszów and start attacking the NATO airfield there, or Warsaw, or Łódź, or they throw like a fucking, I don't know, shit, what else would they lob from like Kaliningrad? I don't know, something out of Kaliningrad into like Ramstein Air Force Base or Grafenwehr or something. I don't give a fuck what they're saying. Like, they can barely take territory. And yes, if there's a competition for how many, like, killing Ukrainian conscripts competition, they are number one at it. But they're not like I'm not fucking worried about what they're gonna do. Yeah, it's World War E at this point. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm not too worried about it. So So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Well, Russia doesn't want the NATO smoke. It doesn't matter that they don't want it. They can't get to it. I mean, they've barely been able to. They can't conquer their neighbor. This is like a chip shot. This would be like us invading, the northern Mexican states and having problems. It's like, no, you should be able to handle this. So people are worried about it. People are worried about it. Foley says Russia can't finish off Ukraine. Oh, no, they will. This is a race to see who collapses first, and Ukraine's going to collapse first. Ukraine's running out of men. Ukraine is already starting to, let out tens of thousands of convicts to go fight. And Ukraine has had, probably at least 100,000 deserters recently. So Ukraine's got a lot of problems. I don't see this. I mean, I don't think this time next year they're still in the fight. It's going to be really tough for them to keep fighting. This time next year, Russia may actually have a good chunk of they might be to the Dnieper River by this time next year. We'll see. So, all right. Anyways, guys, moving on to the stuff that, other people care about. The law stuff, because this is actually a law show, believe it or not. Some updates speaking of another federal case, the case against Luigi Mangione. Remember, he is charged with murdering the head of United Healthcare, the CEO, walked up behind him with a suppressed pistol on the streets of New York and just went to him and walked away, got caught later on just because he wasn't good at his trade craft. Remember, guys, practice your field craft and trade craft. Take notes. So this is interesting, though. It's the United States of America versus Luigi. This is an order. This is from the court itself. And this is an interesting one. Here. And this is from the judge who's presiding over the case. And she says on the 23rd, the defendants filed a letter advising the court of various public statements made by various members of the government. It appears this letter that multiple employees of the DOJ may have violated local criminal rule 23.1 and the court's order specifically identifying the strictures of this rule for counsel and directing the prosecution team to ensure the highest levels of the DOJ, up to and including Pam Bondi, were aware and understood they were bound by this rule. And here's the court saying, for the avoidance of doubt or confusion, it's his way of saying, it's her way of saying, Judge Garnett's way of saying, let me do it in sign language for you. Says in a criminal case, it is the duty of the lawyer or law firm and of non-lawyer personnel employed by a lawyer's office or subject to their supervision not to release or authorize the release of opinions that a reasonable person would expect to be disseminated by means of public communication in connection with pending criminal litigation with which they are associated. And they say if there is a substantial likelihood this will interfere or otherwise prejudice the administration of justice, which it could easily do so. And the rule goes on to say that any opinion to the accused guilt or innocence or as to the merits of the case or evidence's case is a matter that presumptively involves such a substantial likelihood. So they're saying if you're talking about his guilt, his innocence, or the merits of the case, and the merits of the case or the evidence, it's presumed to be influencing the public. And they point out there were two statements. Two statements here that were made. And they were made by two high-ranking staff members of the DOJ, including within the Office of the Attorney General. And they appear to be in direct violation. So they say, accordingly, the government is directed to respond to the portions of this letter by October 3rd, and to include the response a sworn declaration from a person of suitable authority. And it says at least Miss Howell or Buckley, in his capacity as acting U.S. attorney for this matter, if not an official at Main Justice, meaning in D.C., that explains to the court how these violations occurred, despite the order, and what steps are being taken to ensure no future violations occur. They're also directed to advise the Deputy Attorney General for dissemination within the department is appropriate, that future violations may result in sanctions, which could include personal penalties, contempt of court findings, or a specific relief to the prosecution of this matter. Meaning there could be, theoretically, this case could get tossed if it got bad enough. The government's declaration shall also include confirmation the message has been conveyed to the Deputy Attorney General. And it says the court will consider the other statements referenced in the letter in connection with the death penalty motion. Because remember, the federal government seeking the death penalty. And the government may include any response to those statements in its opposition to the death penalty motion on the schedule previously set. So if it addresses those parts, you can get to those in your motion that you're dealing with anyway. And this has been signed by the judge. And this is one of the deals. You can't be blabbing your mouth. You have to shut up. You have to shut up. Patrick Allen says, sorry, I'm about 19 minutes behind. TSSCI is not the highest. I'm sorry, I thought it was. And the DOEQ is equivalent to a basic top secret. Are you sure? Hold on here. Let me see here. Yeah, so let me see here. Security clearances. What's kind of the... Let me see. What are the levels? Or are you talking about yes, I guess technically Yankee White is for the people that are working with the White House. I guess that's technically the highest one, but I know there's also there's the Q clearance and there's the L clearance. I thought those are actually pretty tough for the Department of Energy. Patrick says, Q equals top secret? Really? I didn't know. I've been in the system for over 20 years. Okay. Top secret is one step above the minimum, but yes, but SCI, you're, secret, your special compartmentalized information. So, special access program. Yeah, that makes sense. That's higher. Yeah, that makes sense. And Patrick Allen says the confidential is the minimum, then secret, then top secret, then qualifiers. So, there we go. There we go. Yes, technically correct is the best type of correct. So what does this mean here? The judge is telling the DOJ, you got to shut up. You can't comment on the case. And this is the unique thing here because the head of the DOJ is the Attorney General. And Pam Bondi loves to have her interviews. She loves to run her mouth. So guess what? She can't. She can't. Anybody in the DOJ is not allowed to talk about this case to the press. No one is. Not even the people at the Southern District of New York. That totally makes sense, I think, to all of us. But everybody at the DOJ can't do it. Everybody at the DOJ can't run their mouths. And this can lead to sanctions. It can lead to penalties. L is the DOE version of secret. Oh, okay. But yes, Pam Bondi is an idiot. And the people at the DOJ need to shut up because they could prejudice Luigi's case. And his attorneys can file motions seeking, Your Honor, we need to have a dismissal for prejudice, pretrial publicity. There are times where that has happened and the courts are yeah, Mr. Prosecutor, you fucked it all up. We have to do something about this. So you just have to be very careful. You have to be very, very, very careful. You have to be very careful. So be very careful about it. Now, moving on to somebody else in the Southern District of New York. Diddy, P. Diddy. Remember, guys, P. Diddy has a sentencing next week. But he is trying to get his case overturned in the meantime and reversed. You have the ability in courts, the federal court, but also in state courts after a conviction to file motions to have verdict for a directed verdict or for the court to reconsider things and to reevaluate things. These are all losing battles, but you file them anyway. And remember, for P. Diddy, all he was convicted of was procuring hookers. That's all he got charged with was the Mann Act. Diddy wasn't facing anything else. And that's been an issue of contention for him and his attorneys, because they say, hey, look, I didn't do anything wrong other than getting hookers. And if that's all I did, I shouldn't go to prison for that. He's looking at the, multiple years in prison, multiple decades, technically, tons and tons of time. But all he did was get some hookers. And in this situation, he wasn't like pimping them out. He was like doing the freak offs with them and watching them in baby oil and doing all kinds of creepy shit. But it's not the way this is meant to be. And Diddy is challenging that. He's challenging the fairness of this. And, the court is, the judge is like, well, I'm still not letting you out, but we'll deal with this at your sentencing next week. So, what are we going to do? How's this going to work? Well, for now, Diddy's stuck. But yes, Diddy showed up at this case, because it's not a hearing in front of a jury. He's going to wear the jail clothes. And he entered the courtroom with a broad smile. And then, he hung out with his legal team there as they got ready, and he waved to his kids in the gallery. And Diddy, who's 55, man, that's old. It's weird hearing like Diddy's almost old enough to get Social Security. But he's been held in a jail. He's been held at the Metropolitan, the MCC, for more than a year. And he was convicted in July of transporting people across state lines for prostitution. And yes, the charges related to the voyeuristic sex marathons, known as the freakouts, involving male escorts and two of his former girlfriends. Remember, he would get male hookers, he would get female hookers, and he'd bring them in and he'd have them all have sex with each other. The jury acquitted him of the sex trafficking and running a racketeering conspiracy. Remember, he had a RICO charge, and Diddy beat a RICO charge, which is really impressive. It's really impressive. His sentencing is October 3rd, and we're going to see what's going to happen next Friday. We're going to see what's going to happen. We just don't know yet. But anyways, his attorneys are saying they should vacate the verdict and acquit him. Judges, it's an option available to you, but the judges don't usually do that. So, and instead of that, they at least want a new trial. They're not getting that either. And yes, Diddy's attorneys say it's unclear why this is a criminal in 2025. Well, you could make that argument, but nobody's going to go with it. Oh, no. Diddy was a goo enjoyer, particularly the Punishers. Oh, no. So it's something here. 55 is the new 35, yeah. So, yeah, Shapiro tried the Ricada defense, yes. But anyways, this hearing was today, and, the judges, the defense and the prosecutors went back and forth over this. And they assert that, Diddy, was a clear-cut violator of the White Slave Act, which the Mann Act was originally known as, and used violence against the women involved and plied them with drugs to ensure their continued participation in the sex marathon, those freak-offs. Well, we also know from the women, it wasn't as bad as everybody thought it was, and it's there's so much to this that's borderline insane. Even the jury was like, yeah, Diddy didn't do all this. He may have called people up and had them show up, but the rest of it was not. He was acquitted of the rest. So they say these freak-offs were about only one thing, Diddy's sexual gratification. Well, yeah. So we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens to Diddy. I just want to let you guys know there is a Diddy update. He tried to get out, and he is going to get sentenced. He'll get sentenced next Friday, so we'll know what's going to happen there. Remember, guys, it's federal court, so you are not going to get like a camera in the courtroom. You'll get, like, if Diddy comes out of court, you'll find him with his hands held high, and people cheering and hooting and hollering. Or we'll find out he got taken away and is being detained as part of his sentence. So it really depends. Ideally, though, and some of you might say, well, the judge could let him, no, I mean, at this point, he's been held in custody. There's a presumption, unless, he's going to do a little bit more. He's not just going to walk out, I don't think. So, Sweet Tooth is saying, was it more like an OJ jury? I don't think so. It was a pretty short trial for Diddy. So, let's see. Amateur Iconoclast says, well, I'm 45 today. Well, happy birthday, man. Happy birthday. Evan S. says, I'm sorry. I thought this was America. So did I. Edward Scott says, Diddy molested, what's his name, when he was underage? Bieber or something like that. Well, yeah, there was some weird stuff where when Bieber was coming up, he spent like a whole week with Diddy just by himself. And it's like, yeah, that totally is not creepy at all or weird at all. Although it's funny where those guys both are now in their lives. Like, even Bieber is like in a weird spot now too. So internet odds are contagious. Well, I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. So don't be like Diddy. Another federal court case, this one's somewhat humorous here, is Ryan Routh. You guys remember Ryan Routh is a guy who tried to kill Donald Trump, President Donald John Trump, at his golf course in West Palm Beach. He's the guy who he stopped outside the golf course, crawled through the brush in the hedgerows, and set up a little sniper hide and was getting ready to kill Trump with an SKS. And as soon as he poked the rifle out of the tree line, which is why you never poke your, when you have a rifle and you never poke it out past your cover or your concealment, you always shoot from inside. The Secret Service saw him. They engaged with him. And eventually he was caught. He faced multiple charges. He defended himself. And this is the guy who was all about Ukraine. And he's the guy who also tried to, holy shit, I'm tired. A little bit. Anyways, this is the guy who went after him. This guy went after Trump. So this is like this is the attempted assassin dose. So he defended himself, and guess what happened, chat? The jury convicted him on all charges. It's like, that's a shocker, isn't it? You represent yourself and you get convicted of everything. Aquila says, didn't they find cheese pizza on his or his son's computer? I think it was one of his sons. But who knows at this point? Anyways, yes, he got convicted of all charges. And, this is one of the court drawings that we have. And there's another funnier court drawing. So he was found guilty for the attempted assassination of Trump. And the jury found him guilty on all 5 counts. So that includes the attempted assassination and gun violations. And they say even though he didn't fire the rifle, he had the intent and made a substantial step in the alleged attempt. And that's how you get to proving the attempt, chat. Is did you take a substantial step towards realizing the goal of what you were trying to do, the crime you were trying to prepare? So, for example, if this guy had set up all the sniper stuff, and then all of a sudden he just got up and until he officially gets up and cancels it, and he's still 95% of the way there. That's substantial. Sometimes just getting stuff loaded into a car can be a substantial step. It's very fact specific how you do that, substantial steps. But you have to make an effort. Like if somebody says, I'm going to go, snipe the president on a golf course, but they never do anything to make that happen had they actually committed a crime. I think for the sake of the argument here, we could say no. Well, then at that case, he hasn't prepared a substantial step. Therefore, he has not engaged in the attempt. Now, if he had gone out, scouted everything, got a gun, was driving around the neighborhood, and then they found him in the morning, like the night before, sleeping in the parking lot next door so he could sneak in later, that would be substantial preparation. That would be a substantial preparation here. Yeah, this guy has a very, 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 very weird history. But as the guilty verdicts were read, Ryan Ralph tried to stab himself in the neck with a pen. And then his daughter said his daughter did the didn't do nothing defense. He didn't hurt anybody. This is not fair. He didn't do nothing wrong. He's just my dad. So anyways, the prosecutors, the federal government, spent 7 days. And they presented 38 witnesses in their case. And yes. And the funny thing is, the judge on this is District Judge Eileen Cannon. Yes, chat that one. So this trial took 2.5 weeks, which was a lot quicker than expected, because Ryan Ruth, acting as his own attorney, spent relatively little time cross-examining witnesses and just called 3 people to testify in his defense. And his defense only took a few hours. So good call, Ryan. I'm sure that's how that worked out. I'm sure that worked out really well for you. I'm sure that really worked out well for you. Let's see here. He tried making a wallet of a bulletproof vest. Yeah. He tried to give himself some ballistic protection. Like I said, his heart and his mind, his heart and ideas overall were in the right place, but he couldn't manufacture those things in a reality, which is why, this happens. This happens here. And Miro, oh my God, that's hilarious. Yes, he couldn't afford an attorney because he didn't have any USAID money. It's like, oh, buddy, that's mean. That's mean, but it's true. And Derna says his CIA handler got some consolation prizes for having a mentally disabled but very enthusiastic asset. Oh, I'm sure. I am totally sure. I am totally sure. Thank you for the super chat. Ooh, geez, I can't stop yawning. Terabus says the Snyman the SKS was not a good choice. It didn't really matter what he used, but SKS was good enough, man. SKS would have been good enough. So from there, there is some footage of him taking his attorney's pen, or taking his pen. And this is him, and I'm sure the person drawing had to freeze a frame, or at the very least, I'm sure he kind of went like this with the pen, and I'm sure he went like really slow, like he was like, I'm gonna do it, and they're fighting with him. He's like, no, I want to do it. I don't see, I think it's funny though that he's doing this. He's like, looks like the most pathetic guy in the world. He's like, I'm just gonna end it. Which, if he got away with that, that would have been super fucking metal. Like, I would have given him some credit. That's a hell of a way to go out. Like, I would have been like, wow, dude, that's pretty epic. So, why does he look like John Kerry? I don't know. So, I don't know why he looks like John Kerry. So, that's kind of interesting. That is kind of interesting there. It looks like John Kerry listening to a Coach Shell. So, You're saying he didn't cut himself? Yeah. No, I agree. He's going to be in a suicide smock now. Yep. Yep, he's definitely going to be on suicide watch for now. And the other guy looks like Matthew Broderick or Mike Myers. Kind of. Just a little bit. It's John Kerry when you corner him and he talks about his 3 Purple Hearts. He's like, I'm just going to do it. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So there's, and I didn't realize, chat, but yeah, we have a lot of federal stuff tonight, which is kind of interesting. Kind of a lot of federal stuff. Hold on here. Where are we at? All right, chat. We got a couple things things we're moving on to. This one's an interesting one out of the state of California. This is a bill it's not been passed yet, but it's one they're looking at. It's Timu John Kerry, yeah. Instead of the Swift boats, you get like a little you get a fishing boat pulling up. But anyways, this is a bill passed by this is a bill that's going to be proposed in California to come into effect like pretty dang soon. So they want to add some things here relating to social media platforms. So you're like, okay, well, what do they want to do here? Well, they want they want to make a social media platform that violates the above referenced laws regarding relating to personal rights through its algorithms. And if you act or aid in all of this, it's an action for civil damages. People are going to start having liability here. So what do they talk about? So they're saying, well, the people of California are acting as follows. And they say, yeah, all this stuff is really bad. Yes, I agree. Everybody thinks this shit is awful. No one likes it. Keopathic says they want me to stop shit posting at Gavin and calling his aunt an alcoholic whore. Yes. So anyways, they go through all of this. And they point out, and this is how they establish that California has a compelling interest in protecting its residents from threats, violence, and coercive harassment. And hold on a second. And chat, give me 1 second. I have to go take care of something for 2.0, so I will be right back here. Give me 1 moment. I need to make up the I'll be right back music. Sorry, guys. Clyde had to go to piano lessons. I'm so sorry. Were the feds watching my stream? No. The ATF did not get me. No, Clyde had to go to piano lessons. But anyway, so let's get back to this. So they point out that California is like, targeted threats, violence, and coercive harassment. Yeah, there's already laws against all of this. And they point out like, hate crimes and anti-immigrant slurs increased by 31%. Oh no, not this chat. No, it sounds so horrible. And then the Human Rights Campaign and the Center for Countering Digital Hate have documented a 400% rise in anti-LGBTQ disinformation and harmful rhetoric. Oh no! It's like, okay. And according to DOJ data, anti-Jewish bias events rose by 52.9%. Based. And anti-Islamic bias events rose by 62%. Based. I mean, is there anything wrong with those? People are allowed to have those opinions. And they say a study by the Global Witness demonstrated that paid advertisements were promoting violence against women, including language calling for beatings, killings, were placed and distributed on major social media platforms. Where the fuck did that happen? Like, I didn't see anything on Twitter like saying, by the way, beat the brakes off your wife if she mouths off to you. Where the hell did that come from? Where the hell did this thing happen? I've never heard of this part of it. Like, the other stuff makes sense. But then they do this one, and I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know. So they say in light of these trends, the purpose of the act is to regulate speech. It's not to regulate speech, but to clarify that social media platforms may not knowingly use their systems to promote, facilitate, or contribute to conduct that violates state civil rights laws. Okay, so what happens here? Well, any social media platform that generates more than $100 million a year in gross revenue is covered. And they say that if you violate this through its algorithms that relate content to users, or aids, abets, or acts in concert or conspires in a violation of any of these sections of the civil rights law, or is a joint tortfeasor in any violation of these sections, shall in addition to any other remedy be liable to a prevailing plaintiff for a civil penalty for each violation, sufficient to deter future violations not to exceed the following. For an intentional, knowing, and willful violation of a civil rights thing here, a penalty of up to $1 million. For a reckless violation, a penalty of $500,000. And they say if the evidence demonstrates the platform knew or should have known that the plaintiff was a minor, the court may award up to twice the penalties described. Now, why are they saying this thing about minors? This is their way of trying to enforce ID checking on people, guys. This is a way you can get ID check. And this is the way they're going to try to backdoor their way into it by forcing the social media companies to verify IDs and retain that data. So as much as it sounds good here, they are using this for a nefarious purpose. Starling Lee says, as an immigrant, it was me that increased the anti-immigrant illegal immigrant slurs by 30%. Yeah. This is them trying to bring the UK stuff here. Yeah, it is. This is entirely all about saying, well, my children, and because that this showing they knew or should have known is the only way they would have known is submitting a driver's license or photo ID. And they want you to submit your photo IDs to them because then the government will get them. And they say deploying an algorithm that relays content may be considered an act of the platform, independent from the message of the content relayed. So how they deploy an algorithm can become their problem. And you're deemed to have actual knowledge of the operations of its own algorithms, including how and under what circumstances its algorithms deliver content to some users, but not others. Yeah, that's some great stuff. Absolutely great stuff there, huh, guys? So, and this title shall become operative on January 1st, 2027. So, it's a long time out, but yeah, there's an entire reason why they're doing this. Yes, they really are threatening free speech, but it's okay. It's okay because Jimmy Kimmel, I guess, is the way they look at it. But yeah, this is actually this is California getting around all that stuff by saying this is about children. Give me your IDs. So, and like I said, I think that the courts will cuck out on this and allow it ultimately. Hold on here. Why is my... I got like an eye booger and I swiped it out and it like apparently I didn't get it all. And it's like, what the hell? What the hell? That was a little annoying because I swiped it out and then I got all blurry for a second. I was like, ugh. You won't be able to joke about the president having dementia anymore. So, yes, he's boogery. Well, moving on from there, guys. This is a statement. There was a statement from Google and YouTube through their attorneys they released as part of their cooperation with the House Judiciary Committee. And what do they do there? So it's to the Honorable Jim Jordan. Yes, that Jim Jordan from the great state of Ohio. The pride of St. Paris, Ohio. So he's the chairman of the Judiciary Committee in the House of Representatives. And this is submitted through a law firm, King and Spalding, which these guys are huge. And notice their address is 1700 Pennsylvania Avenue. Their statement of facts submitted on behalf of their client Alphabet Incorporated, which is Google, and its subsidiary YouTube. And they say that it was response to subpoenas issued by the judiciary earlier this year. And they point out that Google gave out more than 40 sets of documents. It gave 20 different interviews with their executives. And they went through all of this to point out what happened. They were involved in all this, and they point out what the Biden administration did. And they said, ultimately, senior Biden administration officials, including White House officials, conducted repeated and sustained outreach to Google and pressed the company regarding certain generated content issues regarding COVID that did not violate its policies. They say, while the company continued to develop and enforce its policies independently, the Biden administration officials pressed to keep the company to review non-violative user-generated content. And they say as online platforms, Google grapple with the decisions of officials, including Joe Biden, and created a political atmosphere that sought to influence the actions of platforms based on their concerns regarding misinformation. And they say it's unacceptable and wrong when any government, including the Biden administration, attempts to dictate how a company moderates content. Yes. And just like Brandon Carr fucking running his mouth about Jimmy Kimmel, that is not helpful either. And the companies fought against those efforts on First Amendment grounds. Not very hard, though, to help get people back. So, and, you know, they talk about here YouTube, and their mission is to give everyone a voice to show them the world. And there's over 2 billion logged in users worldwide, and over 500 hours of content are uploaded every minute. Think about that right there. That's an insane thing. You know, it's a, you know, people who span over 100 countries and 80 languages. And they point out there's a wider variety of views on the YouTube platform than any other information source in history. Probably. And they say, you know, YouTube is doing all the stuff here. And they say the creative ecosystem from YouTube supported nearly 500,000 full-time American jobs and $55 billion to the U.S. economy, according to the Oxford economics people. So it's like, it's all kinds of power that was, you know, that's out there doing this. Think about it. It's, you know, 490,000 jobs on its own and there's a $55 billion with it. Like, that's an impressive amount of power. So what do they say? Well, YouTube takes seriously the importance of protecting free expression. No, you don't. The community guidelines and terms of service equally apply to all users. Are you sure about that? And they're saying that YouTube never had a community guideline prohibiting discussion of the origins of COVID. I don't know about that. And then publicly around 2023, YouTube ended several COVID content policies. And they say as of December of 2024, YouTube retired the remaining standalone COVID-19 policies and a lot of discussion of various treatments for COVID-19. And they say that, they ultimately point out that health authorities have changed their guidance over time, and Alphabet's policies have evolved as well, meaning, yes, the doctors were found to be liars. And they say, while the reliance on health authorities in this context is well-intentioned, the company recognizes it should never come at the expense of public debate on these issues. Now, guess what's going to happen the next snowstorm? That's all going to go out the fucking window. And they say YouTube continues to enable diversity of perspectives. Yeah, including that one girl tried to shoot you guys up. And they say YouTube sunsetted a policy to allow for discussion of possible fraud and glitches occurring in the 2020 and other past elections. Yeah. Yep. So ultimately, YouTube is saying, ultimately, here's what happened. So they're saying YouTube terminated channels for violating the community guidelines on election integrity content and COVID-19 content. So what are they doing? Well, reflecting their commitment to free speech, YouTube will provide an opportunity for all creators to rejoin the platform if the company terminated their channels for repeated violations of COVID and election integrity policies. I mean, that sounds great, but what does that actually mean? Does that mean that Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones are back on the menu? No. So ultimately, that was signed for the attorneys for them, for YouTube. But it's not working out that way. These people have to, it sounds like it's great until you're forced to look at what's going on here. And they say, ultimately, we see some previously terminated creators try to start new channels like Alex Jones. And I think Nick Fuentes tried to do a new channel too. And they say, to clarify, our pilot program on terminations is not yet open. And they say it's still against our community guidelines for previously terminated users to use, possess, or create other channels, and will terminate new channels for previously terminated users in accordance with these guidelines. And that's the thing here. That's, it's, if you set it up, that's kind of considered ban evasion the way YouTube operates. What the hell was that noise here? I just heard. Anyway, that is the thing here. So we'll have more to share on this pilot program soon. So Alex Jones said his channel banned again. Yes. Alex Jones and Nick both got unbanned and then rebanned. Yep. So the fix isn't at some level. Well, it's going to be, because you're going to have to apply into the program. And then they're going to take a look and say, are you the type of thing we're looking for? Then they're going to say, sorry, you don't make it into the program, but you got the opportunity to try the program, which is what they're going to do to tell the feds to go screw themselves. They should have waited, but they were dented. Well, I don't blame them for trying. You don't make the cut, Sar. Yeah, says, ich bin ein Banner. All right, guys. So, yeah, this is the interesting thing here. Like, what is YouTube going to do in response? And these emails and stuff right now, like some of these emails that went to, like, Facebook and part of the 800-page report that the Judiciary Committee released. Like, so these people, they have like their addresses and like what they're doing. And you can see it's people who are like at WHO, EOP.gov. Like these are this is as much of the shit people were worried about. This is really bad here because this is somebody from the White House telling Facebook, because it's at FB.com, it would be nice to establish trust. I mean, don't these guys sound like gangsters at the end of the day? Don't they sound like gangsters? I mean, there's so many problems with this. The way they're going about it. It's like, would it be okay if I did it? And I just, it would be nice to establish trust. I do feel like relative to others, interactions with Facebook are not straightforward and the problems are worse. Well, who cares if the problems are worse? Who cares if the problems are worse? I don't care. They say we're trying to solve our problems, see if we have any switchovers, or, we can answer your precise questions later. And, they're like, well, we have urgency and don't sense it from you at all. And they say 100% of the questions we've asked have been answered and weeks have gone by. So ultimately that this is them closing up and, getting ready to take care of things. And they say that, internally, we have been discussing our options on what to do about it. And this is somebody from the White House saying, we're discussing what to do about you. And this is, what if we RICO'd? Yeah. What if we RICO'd under the tree? But this is the thing here where they're pointing out, like, we've been considering our options. Like, you don't say. You don't say. But there's all kinds of these emails that are out there, and some of them are just insane. The way they're worded and what's going on in them. They have the director of digital strategy, dealing with all this stuff, and it's like, they think it's all digital, but it's being done in a very papered setting. It's just, these guys are like, this is another one of these emails that got released. And when you read it, you're just like, wait, they really said all this out loud and they think we're too stupid to do anything about it. And really, that's what they're doing. It's their way of saying you guys are too stupid, that we're all too stupid. But this one says, since we've been on, this is somebody from the White House talking to somebody at Facebook. They say, well, who's talking about vaccines today? Tucker Carlson, saying they don't work. And, he was on with Tommy Lahren. He was saying that she won't take one. He says, that's why I want to know what reduction actually looks like. If the reduction in force means our guy's going to get a little more active. But it's interesting that they are, they say they want to know what a reduction looks like, because a reduction means pumping our most hesitant audience with Tucker Carlson saying it doesn't work. He's like, I'm not sure if that counts as a reduction then. And I think that's a fair assessment. I think that's a fair assessment. All right, hold on, chat. Okay. I think we are, yes. Are you sheltering the vaccines under your floorboards? You are sheltering your Tylenol supply under the floorboards, are you not? Yes, user 404. Yes. Why are they taking notes on a criminal conspiracy?
Nigga, is you taking notes on a criminal fucking conspiracy? What the fuck is you thinking, man?
Yes, what is you thinking? What is you thinking? So, yeah, it's all a fucking scam. YouTube's going to come in and say, oh, we're allowing everybody back, but we have to apply to get in. That's going to be the kicker. That's where they're going to get you. That's where they're going to get everybody. And, oh, well, I guess we didn't have to do it like that. Sorry. And that's where they're going to do there. It never gets old. I mean, it's kind of like, what's old? I know whatever gets old. So, but somebody says, shit. Yes. Tylenol causes vaccines. All right, hold on 1 second, chat here. Give me 1 second. All right, chat. There we go. There we go. There we go. So I take Advil. I'm a pure blood. Well, so like I said, guys, this stuff with YouTube, it sounds great, but what does it actually mean for us? Well, I'm sure they're going to come up with reasons why Nick Fuentes can't come back. I'm sure they're going to come up with reasons why the Frogman can't come back. I'm sure they're going to come up with a lot of things. But in the meantime, it appears Destiny is still demonetized. So there's always that. There's always that. There's always that. Yes. Yeah. It's like, what kind of American are you? Are you an Advil American? Are you a Tylenol American? Are you one of them Aleve Americans? Are you one of those St. John's Worts Americans? Are you one of those essential oils Americans? So, all right, guys. And then the last thing that happened, last thing we're going to get into here tonight is the saga of Joshua John. And this is him right here. This is good old Josh. So what did Josh do? Well, Josh, for some reason, didn't like ice. And what did Josh do in the meantime? Well, Josh picked up some sort of 8mm Mauser rifle chamber and 8mm Mauser. So probably like a 90, 98K. Maybe he had a 1898. I don't know. God forbid that guy used like a fucking, commission rifle, a Gewehr 88. That would actually be kind of cool if he used like a Gewehr 88. That would be really cool. If you guys don't know what that is, that's okay. But they are cool. They are cool. But they are very, very neat. They are neat setups. And anyway, yeah, I heard he had a Mauser Nagant. He did not. So what did he do? Well, he took that Mauser rifle and he set up across from a ICE facility. And as an unmarked ICE vehicle, I think it was a van rolled up or an SUV rolls up into the Sally Port to stop, he starts shooting indiscriminately into the vehicle. Nobody from ICE was injured. In fact, the only people he managed to kill were illegal immigrants. Where I don't know where they're from, but let's just presume they're from Mexico. He killed a bunch of Mexicans. Now, to be fair, they were going to get deported, and what did he do? He permanently deported them. Permanent afuera. Afuera all the way to heaven. It's like, damn. But it does happen. It's there. Yes, he did it from an immigration attorney's office building, yes. So he did show up there. Now, people are trying to claim he's like, oh, he's just an edgelord. He's just an edgy boy. It's like, I don't see how him being an edgy boy, he would do all of this. And then as, immediately as the police close in, he just, starts it and, takes himself out. I just don't know. Tyler says, well, why are these guys using cheap surplus rifles? There's actually a better theory. And it's from this guy on YouTube, Hard Pass, and I love him. He does great tweets. He says the prior shooters had nice AR-15s with optics. They had Daniel defense rifles. Trump closes USAID. Now all they can afford are surplus CNR rifles. And you're just like, oh no, chat. Oh no. They're doing it for the memes. But yes, he claims he did it for the memes, which is a little weird. But as they found him and he was dead, they've sought to figure out that all he wanted to do was terrorize ICE workers, which doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And he says he wants to cause terror. He did take his own life, and he claims he acted alone. It is interesting how he did it. But yes, he fired at a van. He killed, hitting and killing one and wounding two others. One of them has since died, and the only one's left fighting. And yes, the one in the hospitalized was a Mexican national. The DHS says a suspect died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. So, I mean, they did find a bunch of notes from him, probably in his room, explicitly stating, "Yes, it was just me." It's a little different than what I was thinking. And they said these notes also included a game plan of attack and specific targets. And he says, he wrote it. Oh my God. These notes also include a game plan, and he wrote hateful messages against ICE employees, calling them. And this is where I'm like, is this really hateful? Like, yes, it's not cool, but it's like, there are people showing up to collect a dirty paycheck. It's like, this is a bit out, this is getting a bit out of hand here. Like, it's just really fucking gay. It's so cringe. It is so cringe. And they say, yeah, he would have just warmed drinks every time. Well, yeah, Homer would have been the perfect at that. Because he just sits there and goes, hmm. Also, Chet, hold on one more second. Yes, Fred Rush says 1-3 was the final score. Yeah, well, you can actually say he went 0 for 4. He didn't go the way it was planned completely. They claim the gun that he bought was an 8mm bolt-action rifle, so some sort of like Mauser derivative was purchased legally, officials said. So I love. They say he had no ties to any individuals detained by immigration. So what? Like, yeah, but he went and attacked it. Like, just saying, oh, he randomly wanted to fight the government is a bit retarded. And yeah, here's Joshua if you haven't seen him before. They found a stripper clip with a couple of rounds in it. He wrote anti-ice on the side. I love how they say these are being engraved, like somebody sitting there with like a chisel and scratching it in. Like, no, nobody does that. That makes the gun dangerous. You compromise its integrity by doing that. So yes, he left notes. He says, yes, it was just me and my brain. He says, good luck with the digital footprint. Oh, no. That's so funny. That is so... but the stories about this get actually better and better because the New York Post starts talking about, like, it's a Nazi gun! Oh, no, chat! And, like, they lose their mind over this. It's actually pretty funny here. It's pretty funny how this comes up. As this shows you here, he used a Nazi battle rifle used in the deadly Dallas attack. So, what did he do? He used an antique Mauser rifle. And he shot up it was actually a bus, not a van. I'm sorry. Well, same diff. Really. And they point out, look, The Nazi man is using it while he does Nazi man stuff. You know, that's oh well. And they go on to talk about things here, like the most famous is the Mauser 98K. They say that, you know, he left behind a stripper clip full of 8mm ammo with one bullet, with one casing written on the side, the words anti-ice. He didn't inscribe it. It wasn't, you know, I mean, this is like, oh, look, you know, it's, here are the Freikorps, and they are, here are the Freikorps, and look at them carrying guns, getting ready to kill communists. Based, I know, chat. Yes, they do carry them still as a ceremonial rifle. And that is what they found in the Charlie Kirk shooting. But anyways, yeah, that's another cop. There's another picture of the bullets up close. Here are some of the ICE people, you know, in DHS hanging out, trying to see where the shooter was at, and just so they have an idea what they can figure out. Yeah, anti-ice is what some first-time glowy stuff would be. Yeah. You know, it's the two pictures of Nazis. Immigration in Spanish, thank you. Yes. Yeah, inmigración. And there's no pictures from its previous 50 years of use. No, not yet. Not for this guy. Not for this guy. So, yeah, we don't know a whole lot about him. Like, there's people trying to sweep up his history and say he wasn't this, he wasn't that. Nobody, like, it's just, there's not a whole lot I think we can do here with this yet. I think it's, it's pretty straightforward. You can't kill people, but it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out for him. It really will be. And even though he's passed away, won't pass away, but he's dead because he shot himself. It'll be interesting to see how they pin this up on him. It will be interesting. Yeah, every modern hunting rifle is based on the Mauser action. Yeah, a lot of them are. I mean, it's like one of the most standard actions that have been around since, like, it's over 120 years now. It's a very reliable, very safe action. There are other actions out there, but the operating systems, the Mauser is like the granddaddy of them all. Oh, shit, my camera. Sorry. That was not intentional. My camera turned off there. Oh, hold on, I got to fix that. Can we have Nazi pictures for the Audi and BMW crashes? Correct. Yes. Missouri Battle Flag says, I believe the 700 is almost an exact copy. Well, remember, the Remington 700 is unique because the guy who made it's like, I just want a tube. And that was one of the primary things, was cutting down manufacturing costs. But yeah, it can have a Mauser safety on it. If you were a sailor, or if you were a soldier in World War II, what would you write on your ammo and or bombs? Well, remember, there's only so much you could write back then because they had, like, could just write everything you wanted to, but I'd write a lot of fun stuff. Yes, it's Mauser inspired. That's fair. The Mauser inspired a lot of things. Mauser with the multi-lug bolt design, the safety lug, a lot of things they did. The multiple position safety. Mauser did a lot of stuff there. So, yeah, I think we're kind of, and with that chat, this guy went ahead and he made, he permanently afuera those guys by killing them. It's like, I mean, at this point, somebody's going to have to pay for this. I can't imagine this guy acted alone. Anderson Cooper says, I'd write look out on my ordinance. Well, You have to write it in German. I don't know what you'd write there, so it'd be kind of funny. Write yo mama on them. Yeah, they would be like, what does this mean, sir? Yes. The Nazis used various things from the Prussian military. Of course they did. Yeah. Kia Patrick says you guys were not allowed to write stuff on your gear in Iraq. Something about hearts and minds. Yeah, well, suffer. So, chat, didn't he steal a family rifle? No, he bought this and had it for a while. So, chat, I mean, there are some big things out there. Remember, practice the fundamentals of marksmanship. And then also the biggest thing is make sure you can positively identify your target before you engage it. It prevents all kinds of injuries from happening in the future. If only that had happened with this. Somebody says that you could write McBullet and put the Golden Arches logo on the casing. That would be very funny. That would be very, very, very funny. He positively identified his target, but his racism took over and he got distracted. He's like, I'm going to get you, Ice. Oh, no, there's minorities. Ah! Pow! Oh, I thought the Charlie Kirk shooter had a Mauser type rifle and the Ice shooter had a Bosun. Nope, he had a Mauser set up. Elliot John says, I seem to recall some guys spray painting Punisher logos on their gear. Anybody who does that is so fucking cringe, it's unbelievable. Don't do that kind of shit. That looks really bad in front of a jury, too. God forbid you need to. Don't do that stuff. The end is near Beware. It says, I have a rifle that's almost a clone of the Charlie Kirk. It's a Remington 798, and Remington then imported them from Zastava for 2 years, and very few brought in, and a lot less with the synthetic stock. Geez, why did they only, I guess they only got so many ideas for it, but, that's an interesting question. We don't know the exact rifles here, so we won't know yet. Let's see. Where was I going to look for? What about a Hello Kitty? No. I was trying to read up on the chats here. So, guys, we got to catch up on some of these as we go along here. Where are we at? I think we're going to have to just go with... I'm probably going to backtrack a little bit here. But Morris Apple for $5 says, for once, I am not late and gay. And yes, Chad, I will also point out, we made it to the end. We are at the end. We got to the last story. A little bit of a quicker night here, but we got done before midnight and 2.5 hours. I'm very impressed with ourselves. You should be too. Jefferson Post for $2 says, remember, Minnesota has that weird pocket service thing. Yeah, but that's not for the, I think once actions have commenced, though, that's a little different. Let's see here. Natasha already got that one. And then Range Queen, we already got that. Trucker Rob for $5 says, Sean! Thank you. Jose says, did you know Russell Greer is a male hooker with a rent.men profile? No, and I really don't think I wanted to know about that, but, here we are. So, thank you for that info. And then Peter Keys for $5 New Zealand dollary doodleishes says, just because he didn't do it doesn't mean he is innocent. Well, that's kind of funny. That's funny. I like that. And then PS2 Chipper gifting 5 subs. Thank you, PS2 Chipper. Durna says, well, wait, that's how Charles Martel, the mayor of the palace, which is basically the chief of staff, back in, the 700s, won the Battle of Tours. Yes. By sending out mean tweets. Yes. Tours and Poitiers, they were only saved by Twitters. Squizgar, it's good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Says they will say Alex Jones and Fuentes were banned for ban evasion, not political speech. Yeah, but they're also going to say even then we evaluated them and found them wanting. So it's not a surprise that that's going to happen. I think it's just a question of when. Fred Rush says a 1 for 3 final score. Yeah. Oh, Fred Rush again for $5 says, imagine going through all that and you can't be bothered to get a Dremel engraver at Home Depot. Some people don't think it through. Malcolm says, draw a windmill to confuse historians. Oh my God, I don't think they'll fall for that. Oh my God, that's so funny here. And then Nick Kreuzer says, you get that mouse software working, takes 2 minutes, 5 if you're drunk. I have not had a chance to download it. The FBI admitted to 275 plainclothes agents of the crowd on January 6th. Yes. But remember, I want to know Army counterintelligence, naval intelligence. I want to know every fucking Fed in the crowd, and I'm sure there were tons of them. I'm sure there were tons of Feds. So I want to see, every agency that was there, and I bet there were tons. 275 plainclothes for the crowd that size is not that much. That's a decent amount for a crowd that big. The YouTube execs identify as gay frogs, and the idea of Alex Jones outing them is just too much. Yes, it is. That's a thing. Yes. Oh. So let's see here. You guys can't write shit. Well, that happens. Chat can't build towers on its own. You got to give them the floor and leave it alone for the next couple hours. Then it might win. As long as you don't have a case. So. All right, guys. We are all done for tonight. We all got all caught up here. I'm sorry I got a little yawny on you. I was up at like 5:30 this morning. Actually, it's like woke up at 5. I woke up at like 5 o'clock, just ready to go. So, YouTube censors the word shoot. Oh, okay. Well, I guess they do. I don't know what to tell you guys there. So, wait till y'all find out how many were involved in the Summer of Love riots. Oh yeah, there are gonna be tons of them, and they traveled around. And you're going to have to say what kind of organization helped them travel around from place to place. It's like, oh, I'm sure there's going to be dedicated people. And these people are going to be not affiliated with a group, but, yeah. Stabby says, congrats, you got up 2 hours after I did. Well, thank you. I'm proud of that accomplishment. But yeah, I couldn't go back to sleep, and I was like, fuck. So, yeah, canceled trial energy. I know. Except for trial we were set to have a trial today, and my guy's like, I don't want to plea. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, all right, we'll get you pled out. So I woke up this morning and I was like ready to go, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to trial. I don't need to be up right now. So what happened to Patriot Front? They're still around. Not as much, but they're still there. Is USAID paying these guys? Remember, all the money's gone. But Patriot Front still shows up. They've been out and about. I don't think they've marched since Charlie Kirk got killed, but they were up to that point, seen actively and operated. So, it's like the FBI having secret footage of the Kyle Rittenhouse incident they tried to bury. Yeah, because it's like we found out a high-tech FBI drone, like a Predator drone, was flying over. So. Yeah. We should outlaw NGOs. We don't need all these subversives. Well, non-governmental organizations, the Boy Scouts are fucking non-governmental. We got to be very specific what you mean. So, yeah. So, anyways, chat, that is it for us tonight. Thank you guys all for being here. Tomorrow night, we are probably going to do kind of like a combination of things. We got to get some Russell Greer stuff caught up. I think there might be some updates in Ethan Klein's case. The one against Casey Tron, they're going to trial, like, you know, they're going to go to trial on this. It looks like it's being set, and, you know, Casey Tron is going to go all the way on this. So we are going to take a look at those things. I think get caught up on those. If we had time for Patrick Tomlinson, that too, you know, do some lolcow stuff on Friday night. I don't know what we're doing Saturday. Hold on here 1 second. Yeah, I don't think we're doing anything Saturday. So, Casey Tron's going to blow smoke at the judge's face and call him an incel. Yeah, that's going to be a great strategy. He's like, but I'm not an incel. It's like, that's what an incel would say. Oh. So, guys, thank you all for being here on the Thursday night show. I truly appreciate it. And, yeah, we do this every Thursday night, and we will be back at it. There's all kinds of stuff going on. I know you guys don't like covering it, but I do because of the quality of the legal writing in it. But the Stuttering John lawsuit against Shuley and Carl, there's been a ton more shit that got dropped, and it's all cringe from Stuttering John and his team. So we'll be doing that another night here coming up. But tomorrow night we're going to do that, and tomorrow night we're going to do the lolcow stuff. And then Saturday, I mean, maybe we'll try Factorio again. I don't know. I'm going to have to figure out how to run all that OBS through StreamYard. But maybe we'll try Factorio again now that I kind of understand it. So, Joe says, I love the writing analysis. Yeah, I do too. Like I said, you know, it's like Boondock says, shitty shooting, good shooting. They say, I love Hardin's filings on the Greer case. Yeah, I know. That's the other one too. Like there's some Russell Greer stuff out there we got to take a look at. He came out swinging on Russell here soon. So, even Hardin's emails go hard. They do. We're so back Factory Bros. I mean, I don't know. It's a little weird because like I set up a steam plant and I got attacked for making pollution, but I'm like, it's literally water vapor, so it's not pollution. So I don't know. Yeah. Anyway. Any plans to cover Turtle Boy? Yes. So guys, there have been some major things in Turtle Boy. Like you know, the special prosecutors have had to bow out on like there's all kinds of things that are starting to fall apart in the Turtle Boy case. I've reached out to Turtle Boy. We're gonna try to have him on here coming up. And we just both been pretty busy, you know, him fighting his own case. But I think it'll be fun to have him on where he can talk about his own case coming up. So it'll be yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun. I don't have a date yet, but just keep that like in the back of your mind when you see it happen, you're ready for it. You're eating rainbow cookie fudge. Well, there you go. Play CNC Tiberian Sun. I mean, yeah, we might play some Command and Conquer. I'm going to have to find it and download it. And then, actually, there's one thing I wanted to see here. The store. Let me see. What games do they have? Rainbow. Oh, they don't have, like, Rainbow Six, like, freaking, like, Rogue Spear or, like, Covert Ops or anything like that. They have, like, Vegas. It's like, I ain't playing that. No, but we got all kinds of stuff we can play and hang out with and do tomorrow on Saturday. It'll be a fun time. Nick won't let me come over. Won't let him come over to your show. So, check GOG. Where's GOG? Oh, GOG might have Rogue Spear. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. A U.S. satellite launched in 2020 just fell out of orbit. Yeah, that happens sometimes. There's problems. Sometimes there are, intentional things done for that. Like, there's all kinds of reasons. So. And they say, yeah, the good old games. I'm sorry. I was wondering what you guys, I thought you guys meant like, I thought he was trying to say in my thing here, but yeah, I haven't been there in a while. Why not play some COD with your members? Well, that too. We could do that coming up as well. If you play a game in my library, I'm going to stream snipe me. That's fine. We'll do it. I'm nodding off. Your mom's nodding off on these nuts. So. Anyways, chat. Play DMC5. Okay, so you know what game I'll recommend? Yeah, we'll work on that. All right, guys. So we are going to head over to locals here. If you guys want to join us at summertime 2025, we'll be over there in about 10 minutes or so. And yeah, we got a lot to cover, a lot of fun stuff to do. J-Rock, your thing, we're going to be getting to here coming up. So thank you guys all for being here. And just remember, until next time, also, we are slowly working on the background change, chat. So get ready for it. It's going to be fun. I think you guys are going to like it. But remember, until next time, chat, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. James Comey, you're guilty as fuck. You're probably going to get away with it, though. Ryan Ralph, guilty. Diddy, guilty. So yeah, don't try to kill the president and don't try to traffic hookers. But apparently light a Congress if you're head of the FBI. You'll be okay. So I guess that's the legal advice we have now, chat. I guess that's the legal advice we have now in our lives. So anyways, chat, good night, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even...
Oh, what's my take on David? Oh God, that guy's fucked. When they find like the dismembered body of like a singer you worked with in your fucking Tesla, you got some splaining to do, homie. Did he do it? I don't know. It sounds like I could see him knowing about it and helping cover it up, but I don't think he did it himself. But we'll see. There's more coming out on that as we go. So
some trains, much
good night, Blueberries.
while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops. Even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. But please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy?